Okay, so I've got my model class, or my first one anyway, and it's a component. Now, if you were to liken this to an electronic circuit, for me to now use this component without pre-testing it might be tempting, but if you considered a circuit board, would you ever plug a chip into a circuit board without testing the chip first? No, you wouldn't. Okay, that's just not the way the economics of electronics works. And the same can be said for software. So how and where do we test our class to the point that we're confident we can build on it? And there are many ways you could go about this. You could create a command line tool and do it in there. You could add some code to your UI logic and comment it out at the end. It'll sort of work, but it's messy. And there's a much better solution. If you've not done unit testing before, we're going to do it now, and you'll see how easy it is. So in Visual Studio, what we want to do is create a unit test project. Now I've got one already built, but we're not going to use that yet. First, I need to show you how to create it. So right-click the solution, add new project. The language is C#. It's MS test. Next, give it a name. This is called it Unit Test Project 1. That's fine for me. And I click Create. And that should now create an additional project in my solution. Give it time. Let it finish all its tasks. And what you get by default is unittest1.cs under this namespace, which is different to the rest of the project. A class actually involved in testing has an attribute test class, and any methods with test method are automatically run when we create our tests. Now, what do we want to do? We want to instantiate body parameter with its constructor and call some methods and check the results. Right, now your first thing you're going to notice if you try to do it would be that IntelliSense won't give you any help. Not yet. Body, nothing's happening. Okay, you think, the namespace was wrong. Yes, that is true. But if you start typing using, and it's BMI estimate, nothing's coming up again, that's a clue. And that's because this is an island, pretty much. It knows nothing of this project, which has our model in it. So we need to add it as a dependency. So right-click dependencies, click Add Reference, and it's the BMI estimate cross-platform code project that we want. Okay. So now when we type using BMI, there it is, that comes up. So that saves us typing that prefix. You'll still see there's an additional bug. Right, and I've left this one in the previous video. If I try now and type body parameter, it's still not coming up. And this had been going for a little while. What I'd forgotten to do was put public on the front of the body parameter class. All right, now it's got public scope. We can say that body parameter, there we go, P1 is new body parameter, and it's a minimum, a maximum, a parameter name, and a unit name. I like using this system. This is completely optional. You can actually label your parameters. Min colon 20.0, max colon 300.0. This is the weight, and it's in kgs. Right, we've created one. Now we can test each of the APIs. So the most interesting one is the set P1 dot set value from string. Excuse my iPad making noises. We'll have a lower edge case, so it should pass. Oops. Right, so we need to go out string ERR str. Now that returns a bool. And now we use the assert commands to check that these things are right. So assert dot, if I just type true, is true, succeeded, and if it's not, we should get an error message, which is basically the lower edge test failed to pass correctly, and then is true. Then just check the error string as well. And we can put in what it should be, which is empty string, because it should have worked. If not, error string for lower edge was incorrect. Okay, now we should be able to run those tests. And you'll get the Test Explorer coming up. Just wait for that. There, all tests passed. And we can add more. Let's try the upper edge. So you need that function attribute to actually include it as an actual test. I should rename these something else. So this will be upper edge, lower edge. That'll be the same. We're going to put in 300. And all it changes is this string. In these cases. So there we go. So again, you can run all tests or run selected tests. Run tests. So this is the unit test project 1. Just thinking about it, there we go. Both tests passed. And you saw how long they took as well. And you could keep going. All right. So that is unit testing. As you can see, it takes things out in a separate project. We still only have one copy of the code, body parameter. So we reuse that in here, and we write whole sets of tests that we can run every time we make a change, basically, to make sure we've not broken something as well. I've actually included in the final solution of this a whole set of these tests, not only for the body parameter, but for the next one we do, which is called the model. Okay, so I've tested lower edge, below and above edges, the null string, and the invalid string. So I put an A in. Okay, so you could now do the same. You could try and create tests with full coverage, if such a thing exists, and try it for yourself.